So Pokemon Legends Arceus offers some of the biggest gameplay changes that the series has seen in decades. It caters to its original fanbase, people like myself, by building on core mechanics of battling and catching, but with a little bit of a twist that makes it both challenging and extremely engaging. However, despite all these improvements, the game simply can't overcome its technical limitations to offer a modern-day gaming experience that will appeal to anyone beyond just dedicated Pokemon fans. So the story is set in an older Sinnoh. You play as a time traveler who has been randomly dropped into the era, and it's immediately noticed by the locals that you, as a trainer, has a strong affinity for catching and battling Pokemon. Because of this talent, you are enlisted into the local group known as the Galaxy Survey Corps, and what you'll find is that you're going to be encountering many characters who are ancestors of people that you will find from the mainline games. By talking to the locals, you immediately notice that the relationship at this time between Pokemon as well as the general populace is somewhat in the air. There's a little bit of an uneasy feeling about the role of Pokemon versus the role of humans in the area, but you're going to be kind of bridging the gap by traveling to different regions of the game and quelling frenzied Pokemon known as noble Pokemon from each region. The overall goal of the game is to figure out what's causing these Pokemon to become frenzied, as well as to figure out how to fix the space-time anomaly that is constantly in the background of the very famous Mount Coronet of the Sinnoh region. Much like most Nintendo games, the story is fairly basic and lacks any sort of depth, but the game plays on its greatest strength very well, which is the overall Pokemon brand. There's just a magical feeling when you encounter and catch rare Pokemon that very few franchises can replicate. The main story will take you about 12 to 14 hours to complete. However, it's somewhat disappointing that the real true ending to the game is locked behind completing the Pokédex, which will require you to invest much more time after the initial credits roll. So in terms of gameplay, we have a pseudo open world. The game is broken into separate regions, and each region attempts to feel unique, but due to environmental depth, the majority of them tend to just blend into each other. With each new region that you visit, you'll gain an HM style ability that will allow you to traverse the terrain a little bit easier. This also means that by the end of the game, you're going to be using new abilities to return to previous areas so you can actually encounter once inaccessible regions to catch more Pokemon. Most of the HM style abilities feel unique, but due to the resource management aspect of the game, the experience is somewhat choppy because you're going to be constantly mounting and dismounting Pokemon, which does break up a little bit of the experience. In terms of encountering and catching new Pokemon, we return to the Sword and Shield method of no random encounters, which I very much appreciate. I feel like the random encounter system is somewhat outdated at this point, so I'm very glad they went back to the no random encounters, and overall it just makes the aspect of catching the most satisfying that it has ever felt in any other previous Pokemon game, because there's an increased value in trainer involvement of approaching the Pokemon and overall just making more decisions. An example of this is an emphasis on stealth, which can completely flip how an encounter plays out. If you approach a Pokemon from a hidden position or doesn't see you at all, you have a much higher chance of catching it without battling it if you throw a Pokeball. And if you decide that a battle will take some of your time and you actually want the battle phase to play out, if you also approach and attack it from a stealthy position, you gain extra turns at the start of the battle, which once again can completely flip how it plays out. In terms of difficulty, Legends Arceus takes the franchise to a level that I have never seen before. You will be shocked at the amount of damage you will receive from both wild as well as trainer Pokemon if you're just used to the mainline games, and the difficulty is compounded by the fact that healing items are not readily available to you, especially at the start of the game. To help ensure your survival in this game, raising your trainer rank through the Galaxy Survey Corps is actually a requirement. This means that you're going to be catching more Pokemon in this game than you have ever before. You're going to be catching a lot of duplicates, running into swarms, rapid firing Pokeballs, and just hoping that they stay in. You're going to be actively seeking out new Pokemon Dex entries as well as catching Pokemon. Raising your trainer rank is also how you earn money in this game, and is also how you unlock the ability to craft and as well buy new items such as higher level Pokeballs as well as essential healing items. On a technical level is where Pokemon Legends Arceus completely falls flat on what a modern game should offer players. The bottom line is that the game just looks very old and the pseudo open world elements just plays very bare bones. There's really no excuse to be omitting voice acting in a game. Even indie games with minor budgets offer some level of voice acting at this point. Instead, Nintendo tries to rely for expression to be conveyed basically through old-face YouTube-style thumbnails. The game tries to present a somewhat open world, but it just has bare-bone level design. You can't even fast travel directly between each of the regions. You always have to return to the central hub of Jubilife Village before you can make your way into a different region. There's very little interaction between the player and the open world. For instance, a quest a little bit further along requires you to bring down pieces of wood to progress. You would think with the large amount of foliage as well as just trees in the world that you could send a Pokemon in to chop down a tree for wood, but that doesn't happen a la Breath of the Wild. You physically have to just search around the world randomly for pieces of wood. So overall, I can safely say that I did thoroughly enjoy my playthrough of Pokemon Legends Arceus. The game does a good job of introducing and building upon core mechanics that we've been used to for the last several decades now. But if you judge it by itself, without the Pokemon branding and that Pokemon magic, it's a very bare bones experience that isn't really up to date with modern day gaming. So I would have to say that if you're a core Pokemon fan, this game does offer you the opportunity to revisit a franchise that you absolutely love. It does give you those moments of magic that makes you feel warm in your jellies. But judging it as a standalone game by itself, it is a very bare bones experience, and it honestly feels like it is more of an experiment in itself to see what Nintendo and Game Freak want to incorporate into its next major title in the mainline series. Reviews such as these take a long time to produce, so I want to give a quick thank you to our Tier 4 as well as Tier 5 channel members DINA, Austin, Fast Vlogs, as well as Positive Sarcasm. All channel memberships go to directly supporting the content that is being produced on this channel, and all members as well receive these reviews 5 days earlier than the general public. So if you guys want to learn more about channel memberships, check out the link in the description.